Hello and welcome to California Bountiful. I'm your host, Aubrey Aquino. On this show, we feature the people, places, food, and farms that make the Golden State so delicious. Right now, I'm in Tomales Bay on the Northern California coast. This is one of the locations where the Hog Island Oyster Company grows, harvests, shucks, and shares great oysters.
Hog Island is a small island in the middle of the bay, and the company is named after that little island. But Hog Island Oyster Company is a really interesting organization that was started about 42 years ago by essentially 3 marine biologists that were passionate about growing food in the ocean and working near the ocean.
Started in the early 1980s, today Hog Island farms on 250 acres of intertidal lands in Tomales and Humboldt Bays, where they raise all 5 edible oyster varieties found in the Northern Hemisphere, plus manila clams and this green species too.
Seaweed loves to grow on oyster gear, on oyster baskets. And over the years, our founders observed that there were a lot of food grade seaweeds, things like nori and ogo, which you might get in a poke bowl. And so a few years ago, we worked with the state, modified our permits to be able to collect some of that seaweed off of our shellfish equipment. This is ulva or sea lettuce, which is a very common seaweed.
Here in Tomales Bay, the oysters thrive in its clean water. And for the people who enjoy them, it creates a sense of connection.
Oysters tend to really taste like the place where they're grown because they're living in that place, they're feeding off the plankton in that place. And so when you eat oysters, you're looking for oysters that are really fresh, that are grown in clean, healthy water, and that really reflect the flavor of that place. I think people love the sense that they're eating something that really directly connects them to the ocean where they came from. Typically, if you eat oysters raw, they are fresh and alive right up until that moment of being shucked for service. And they carry with them a real sense of place, a real sense of the sea. So I think a lot of people really like that. They also happen to be super nutritious. They are as nutrient dense as a lot of the more famous seafoods like salmon. They've got a lot of zinc, a lot of omega-3s. So they happen to be super good for you.
But keep in mind, when it comes to raising these mollusks for all to enjoy, it's a process.
As with all good animal production, we don't start with the oysters as mid-sized oysters, we start with them as baby oysters, right? And so we have a hatchery operation and a nursery operation up in Humboldt Bay. That's the place where we're able to get the moms and pops together and produce baby oysters for the business. We call them seed oysters because they look like little grains of quinoa or oatmeal. And we'll raise those baby oysters up until they're about the size of a grain of oatmeal. And then they'll graduate from our hatchery into our nursery space, which is also in Humboldt. And at that point, they'll start feeding on wild ocean plankton in the bay, and they'll grow to the size of maybe a quarter or a 50-cent piece. And then they'll be transferred to the farm where they'll go in baskets and finish growing up to that final size.
So if you have yet to try one, remember, the world is your oyster.
What I like to tell people, if they're gonna have a raw oyster, which I think is the way to go, start with maybe a smaller one. When you slide it into your mouth, kind of set the scene for yourself of a taste of the ocean, right? Maybe a salty wave slapping you in the face if you're at the beach. If the oyster is fresh and it's cold, people are surprised at how delightful they can taste. There's also the possibility of using what I like to call the gateway drug for oyster eating, which is a wonderful sauce, sometimes called a mignonette. At Hog Island, we have a sauce that we call hogwash, which is actually a lovely blend of vinegar and cilantro and shallots and lime juice that creates a beautiful accompaniment to oysters. And if that doesn't do it for you, I don't know what's going to do it for you.
Time for Farm Bureau Foodies.
We're here with Daniel Bays, a third-generation Stanislaus County grower. How are you today, Daniel?
Doing well, Anna.
Thanks for visiting with us today. So, Daniel, I know you and your family have been farming in Stanislaus County for generations. Tell us a little bit about the Bays family legacy.
So my grandfather and grandmother moved up here in 1957 from Ventura and started farming in Wesley.
Okay.
Started off with row crops, growing lima beans and tomatoes, and then moved into growing tree crops as well, apricots and almonds. My dad grew up in it, came back after college in the early 80s and started farming with my grandfather, and then same thing, I grew up in it. After finishing up at Cal Poly, I came back and here I am today farming with Dad and Grandpa.
Tell us a little bit about what you got going on here.
Well, behind us we have about 75 acres of cannery tomatoes.
And so for folks at home that don't know, the tomatoes actually don't start as seeds in the field. You're bringing in already
So
grown.
We now is use transplants. So those seeds go to a greenhouse. They plant those seeds that we can transplant into a field, so that tomato comes out as we call it a plug, but usually a small plant that's 4 to 6 inches tall. We plant that into the ground and then start growing it from that point. Your home garden, you're probably going to grow that plant up on some type of a trellis structure, and you want that to keep producing tomatoes throughout the season. Where these are going in for processing, they're machine harvested, so the plants are a little stronger, handle a little more abuse because they're going to deal with a machine harvester. They tend to set fruit down low on the ground, and those vines kind of sprawl out and have the leaves up higher. What that does is help shade the fruit, and that the fruit on it will be a lot more uniform. So when it's time to harvest, you'll have all the fruit on that plant will get harvested at one time. And then as that plant goes up through a harvester, the tomatoes get shaken off of the vine. So that's another characteristic, that you want fruit that doesn't fall off the vine too soon, but once it's ripe will hang on long enough to get through the harvester, but then release as it's kind of shaken.
So what happens as the tomatoes are being harvested and we have what is left is the plant? What happens to all that material?
So the plant, when the harvester comes through, the harvester kind of cuts the plant off at the ground, takes the vine and all the tomatoes up into it at once. The good tomatoes get sorted out and put into tubs or big trailers that go to the cannery. The tomatoes that may have rot in them or they're still green, those get put back out onto the ground again, and the vine as well gets chopped up and put back out, and all that organic matter stays there in the field, or we can reincorporate it back into the soil.
So no waste for
No
using
waste.
everything.
Correct.
Well, thank you, Daniel, so much for all the information today and just learning a little bit more about what you grow.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Anna.
Coming up on California Bountiful, we'll take a walk on the wild side and visit a custom hat bar where you can brand your own style of Western wear. But first, we put a spotlight on a Napa Valley castle nestled in the hills, surrounded by wine grapes. California Bountiful is brought to you by the California Farm Bureau.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're also one of America's largest financial services companies. Like, he's so much more than Saquon Barkley.
I'm also Stay Calm Barkley.
Oh, man, he shrunk my uniform. Whoever did...
Calm in, stress out.
I'll never remember all this.
Relax, Rook. When things get intense, we get incense. What a nice cleansing surprise.
For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Now, more ways to watch California Bountiful for free. Just find and download our all-new video app on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, or Amazon Fire. Then start streaming Bountiful content whenever you want. It's that easy.
When you choose California Grown, you're a part of something good. Sound too good to be true? Not at all. it sounds responsible. We lead the nation in sustainable measures, plus some of the highest worker pay and protections. It sounds diverse, with 400 plus specialty crops produced statewide. And it sounds fresh because it was grown right here. Learn more at californiagrown.org.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
City Farm SLO is a nonprofit urban farm. We're in San Luis Obispo. We are on 19 acres of land that's leased from the city, and primarily as an organization, we are providing youth education programs on site.
City Farm SLO is on a mission to empower the next generation to live healthier, more prosperous lives by using sustainable agriculture and farm-based education as its vessel.
So teaching kids how to farm and life skills through farming. We use all regenerative methods. It's really exciting because we have students from the various school districts coming out to the farm for regular classes or for field trip visits. They're all involved in growing the produce. And then we're also selling to school districts. So those students who are helping to grow the produce see it in their school lunches as well. And then in addition to that, we sublease land out to our tenant farmers, and we help enable their farming through a variety of supportive services.
I like to work outside. I like to work with nature. I like to be free. I like to be able to walk around and see my plants grow all the way from like small to like fully mature. That's one of the things that I love. One of the main reasons why I moved here because they give me a good opportunity to start farming organic. That's one of the things that I always wanted to do. I'm still learning and I'm reading a lot, but that's what kind of motivates me to like continue here because I feel like they care about me.
An urban farm cultivated with a community vision that's championing the connection between people living in the city and agriculture, along with the challenges and wins that come with it.
All of the new little fruits, these are all soft and mushy. What happens is the ice or the water inside of the cell wall will expand a little bit when it freezes in the ice and actually crack the cell walls. So we're going to transplant all the strawberries from here into the central row, which he has a couple strawberries he's planting right now.
We are actually in city limits, and we're the only agriculturally zoned land in the city. So pretty unique piece of land, and it just allows a lot of people to come to see us and allows us to model our practices to a large group of people because we're so conveniently located. In the summer, we have our widest varieties. So we've got all the regular veggie favorites like cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes. We always do a mixed leaf lettuce.
And their reach doesn't stop there, since City Farm SLO also markets the fruits of their labor using a local nonprofit service to deliver their goods.
We've been working with Harvestly since its inception years ago, and we were thrilled by this additional opportunity to market our foods. At the time, we were selling at a farmer's market, and that was challenging for our team because of the amount of time that we needed staff to devote to that market opportunity, and then also there was some waste associated with that, where we didn't always know exactly how much we'd be selling, so you harvest a bunch, and then at the end, we always make sure that our food is donated and finds a home, but that was an additional challenge. So Harvestly kind of solves those issues because you're harvesting specifically for orders. You know all of the food is already ordered, will be paid for, and then we don't have to staff a farmer's market. Our produce travels just within the county, so it's hyper local. It's really good stuff. We're really proud to be able to provide this extremely high quality product to our local community members. It's been so great for us. It's really enabled us to connect with more customers. It allows people to be a lot more connected to their local produce, understand seasonability. It provided a way for us to integrate better into the farm to school program as well, which is a really important part of what we do too.
Now for a Bountiful Spotlight.
It's regarded as one of the most beautiful wineries in Northern California.
We are at the Castello di Amorosa, right here in Napa Valley in Calistoga, and we are a castle winery, you could say, since 2007. First of all, we are an Italian castle, right? So our castle is from the 13th century.
Opened to the public in April 2007, Castello di Amorosa was the project of a fourth-generation vintner, Dario Satui.
And it took the owner, Dario Satui, 14 years to build it. I would consider us a mid-sized winery. We are a winery that makes around 40,000 cases of wine, a lot of Italian varieties, like Sangiovese, Pinot Grigio, Pinot Bianco, Barbera. And what makes it quite unique is that we are a direct-to-consumer winery, meaning we're selling all our wine here at the castle.
Also extending into the hillside adjacent to the castle is a labyrinth of caves some 900 feet in length. Then beneath the castle are a 2-acre barrel cellar and tasting rooms where visitors can sample the wines.
So we're not distributing to any restaurants or wine shops. We're selling it all online here. We crush it here. We make the wine here and we also sell it here.
And in addition to the wine, Castello di Amorosa is also home to some unique animals, like goats and emus. There's animal fun for all ages.
We love them. They're part of the castle family. You see our very productive chickens here, okay, feeding a lot of eggs to the employees, and some emus, goats, sheep, you name it.
From the vines to the wine and the breathtaking scenery, it's like being in the Italian countryside without ever having to leave the Golden State. Still to come, Western wear with flair. Time to cowboy up with your own personal style. And after the break, a closer look at this California-grown approach to crafting estate cider.
You know, Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies, too. Just like I'm so much more than quarterback Peyton Manning. I'm also debating Manning. And honestly, this might be my best sport.
I would argue that it's not.
I think it might be.
No, it's not.
Is to.
It's not.
Is to.
It's not.
Is to times infinity, no takebacks.
You can't do no takebacks.
That's debatable. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
The California Farm Bureau has protected the diverse agricultural interests in the Golden State for over a century. As part of the California Farm Bureau, you'll add your voice to the combined strength of over 34,000 farmers, ranchers, and families through our state. That means more connections, more influence, and more opportunity to fight for the issues that impact your life. With your support behind us, California Farm Bureau's robust government affairs, federal policy and farm PAC, and legal teams work tirelessly to advocate at all levels of government, protecting and promoting our shared way of life. Together, California Farm Bureau and our members are standing up for farmers, ranchers, and families throughout the Golden State every day, working to cultivate a bountiful future for all Californians.
California-grown Spotlight.
The family's been growing apples here for about 150 years. We've delivered apples on this beautiful Highway 128 by horse and wagon generations ago.
The farm started out doing dried apples. We used to be able to buy a can of dried apples that you made your pies during the winters. Then with the invention of refrigeration in World War II era, we moved on to fresh market apples. And my parents, we sold through the fresh market in San Francisco for many years. And then in 2013, we started making hard cider.
The family's been making cider here for generations, of course. And now we get to make hard cider that looks like this. And it's all made from our estate-grown organic heirloom orchards. So everything is done on site here.
We do everything from blossom to bottle here on the farm. And so we have the ability to pick them when we want. The sugar, we have control over the whole process, which gives us a unique ability to get a really unique product.
All of our apple trees are heirloom apples. So these were apples that were popular 100 years ago, 200 years ago, even longer than that. And the family's been collecting and sort of curating this very special collection of heirloom apple trees that love growing here in Philo. So I think what makes our cider so distinctive is because you've got these old-fashioned, ripe flavors that really make all the difference.
The nice thing about Anderson Valley that makes it unique is it's close to the ocean, so we have the ability, even on a hot day, you can come visit and go on and have a nice meal on the coast. Got some great wineries in the area as well. It's a great area for Pinot wines, which happens to be a really good area for apples. So there's a lot of stuff to do here. We have the state park and we have hiking trails, have wonderful beaches on the coast. We get a little bit of the fall colors, especially with the grapes and the apple leaves.
I think the hiking is a surprise to people. And I just think the beauty of the area and the relaxed nature of it is really attractive. We're told we're the best kept secret. We're a little bit of a different tasting room because it's not actually a room, it's an orchard under these 100-year-old trees that have been here for forever, some of them even longer. But I really just think it's that sense of discovery and beauty and fun, getting to try something new like cider. I can't tell you the number of times people have said, I feel like I'm actually biting into an apple when I drink the cider, and that's precisely what we want. A lot of people don't know that apple trees are roses. They're part of the rose family. So they flower in the spring, these are the rose hips. And so those floral characteristics are just what we get to protect and kind of bring forward in the cider.
Up next, decisions. We visit a woodland boutique where you can dare to flare and put your own spin on your very own one-of-a-kind cowboy hat.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Peyton Manning. I'm also Calculate Manning. Yep, math checks out.
Join me, Gary Sack, on the Voice of California Agriculture podcast, an insightful look into what's happening in the world of agriculture, from how crops and farmers are faring to legislative and regulatory issues, plus other farm and food news. It's our time to talk about all of it. What are the implications of foreign investment in the U.S. farmland? Find us today at Apple Podcast, Spotify, and California Farm Bureau's website, the Voice of California Agriculture podcast, where California agriculture speaks.
What are you looking for?
Hey everybody, or should I say howdy. I really got to tip my hat to this next story because I've discovered a downtown woodland hat bar that pays its respects to Western wear with a custom twist.
Welcome to Wild Honey in Woodland, a boutique filled with Western style, and they've got you covered from head to toe.
We are a custom hat bar, and what makes us super unique is that we make our own hats, and that's how we're able to get a lot of different colors. So if you see our walls, we don't only just have beige, brown, and the black. We have purple, dark purple, lavender, sage, green, all the colors you can think of, and then you get to customize it, personalize it, add your brand, and really make your hat your own.
A novel idea, perfect for the country western craze and timeless style.
It actually started, my family and I were really big farmers, we're charros, and that's a Mexican cowboy, and we always wore hats, boots, and everything, but I always been like the girl that would add the extra something to my hats. And when I started doing pop-ups, I would always wear hats to cover myself from the sun. And girls were like, oh my God, I love your hat. What are you doing? I love your hat. My parents were born and raised in Mexico. And my dad used to have a farm and he would grow sugar canes. And my grandpa would have cattle, and I actually have one of the cow hides from his cattle in here. And when we started, my dad was like, I want you to take this with you and kind of have a representation of us at your shop. So every little thing in here has a little bit back to my culture, to my roots. When we created Wild Honey, we really wanted it to be fashionable, but also when the trend dies, that if you're like, I don't want to, everybody has a custom hat, you can still have a good quality hat that you can just pass it down from generations to generations.
And here, these head toppers can be uniquely made for just about any occasion.
Because we are in California, it's not so Western. So we do a lot of our straw hats, but I also shape them. So it's like, you don't have to have a Western hat. You can have the concept, and I can make a hat to your everyday lifestyle, whether it's like, I just want to have to the beach, for the farmer's market, or just to have for a concert. Then you have your good one-of-a-kind piece that you can just have forever. This one has been super popular.
Now, when it comes to the process of bringing your unique hat to life, there are plenty of decisions to make.
This wall right here has all different kind of accessories. And then I have people that they're like, I want a hat with butterflies. If I don't have the butterflies, I will go and source the butterflies or wherever I can and then bring you butterflies. If it's real butterflies, we'll put resin on it. Like, I'm very passionate. There's the lace bands, we have leather, feathers, pins, cards, poker chips. There's just so much to create.
All right, time for me to belly up to the hat bar and take my turn at getting her done.
It should be tight enough that if you shake your head, it won't go anywhere.
Okay.
But not tight enough that if you smile, it smiles with you. Like it just goes hee hee hee. Like you feel it move. So that's your
Okay,
side.
no, this feels like a good fit.
So this is a steamer. The thing is to get it nice and warm so that I can shape it. Okay, now I'm gonna pop the circle. Go ahead and try it on for me.
All right. Oh wow! I like that. I do look authentic
You
right
look
here.
cute.
Wow. Yeah, I'm liking it.
And then we would just need something to give it texture. Let me put it right here. Okay, I'm gonna burn the band a little bit. I always say you don't have to ride a horse to wear the hat. Like if you like it, wear it. Western is so in now that at some point it was kind of misunderstood. And I think now with Beyonce and all of that, it's just giving us a new look. I'm happy about it. And I know a lot of like cowboys are like, hey, embrace it, we love it. Anybody can rock a look, anybody can come and make a hat. That's why we try to make it super inviting and colorful in here.
All right. What do you think?
Oh, I think you look adorable. You look so good.
Howdy.
Howdy.
And that is going to do it for this edition of the show from Tomales Bay. We hope you've enjoyed watching, and remember, you can always find us online at californiabountiful.com. I'm Aubrey Aquino. Take care, and we'll see you next time.